So as far as this idea of reading the book of Allah is concerned, reading the book of Allah means reading Quran and understanding Quran. As far as that is concerned, it is something that I cannot do on my own. It's not that I can decide to do it and I will be able to do it. It's not like that. Allah's book is very, very sacred. It's very sacred. You cannot, it's not the book of any other author of the world. Allah is the one who is speaking. It's His words. So if these are His words, then of course there is some criteria and there is some, there are some parameters which are, obligatory in a sense that we are reaching the book of Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself will decide and choose who will be those people who would read His book. So it is Allah who chooses people who then manage to read His book and understand His book. So it's not something that we can do on our own. There's nothing, as far as that is concerned, there's nothing to be proud of. There's nothing to be arrogant about. We cannot do anything on our own. It's Allah who decides who will be those people who will read His book and understand His message. To communicate with Allah, we can do that in salah as well, because when we are praying to Allah in our salahs, we are actually, communicating with Allah. We're supplicating to Allah and we're asking for things, for favors and blessings. Directly we are supplicating to Allah in our prayers. But at the same time, when we want Allah to talk to us, as Ali radiallahu anhu has said, that when I want Allah to talk to me, I read Quran. In that case, to have this blessing that Allah would talk to you, if you want that to happen, you have to make sure that you read Quran. But you cannot do this on your own, because it's just as I described earlier, it's not some ordinary book that you can just pick up and read and understand and you can just keep it, somewhere and then you will read it again. It's not like that. Quran is the book of Allah. Allah chooses people who He wants, and then those people will be able to read. So what you can do is you can, ask Allah for guidance to allow you to read His book, allow you to read His messages. You won't be getting any messages if you're not reading Quran. And Allah decides who are those people who would get His messages in their lives right now, because we're living a worldly life which is a test in by all aspects. So if we're living a life which is a test, then any outside help is very, 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 very important. Outside help means outside the realm of this worldly appearance of the universe in which we live. So any outside help is very, very critical and important, and Allah chooses the people whom He wants to guide. And for that matter, Quran's reading is dependent on Allah's will. If you want Allah to help you, and if you want Allah to allow you to get His messages and extract wisdom out of his book, because Quran is Kitab al-Hakim, it's the book of wisdom as well. If you want that, then you have to pray to Allah that may Allah allow you and may Allah allow me. So for example, if I want Allah to help me understand Quran, then I have to pray to Allah that may Allah provide me with the strength and with the ability to read His book and His messages and extract wisdom out of it, so that I can shape my life accordingly. That's very, very important, because I am not capable of taking good decisions on my own. I have to be dependent upon Allah, because Allah's wisdom is infinite. My wisdom is very, very finite. I'm a very limited human being. I don't have all the resources at my disposal, and also along with that, my intellect is very limited. I cannot take good decisions, and so I'm very, very dependent, pretty much dependent on Allah for each and everything that I do in my life, and all good that comes in my life, it comes from Allah. So by that logic, I have to take this decision of reading Quran, and that decision, even if I take that decision on my own, I won't be able to continue reading Quran. I won't be able to extract any wisdom out of it, because if Allah is not willing, I will not be able to take any guidance out of it. So for that matter, it's very important that we invoke Allah in terms of reading Quran. فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. Whenever you try to read Quran, whenever you recite Quran, then come into Allah's refuge and seek refuge from shaitan, and come into Allah's refuge, enter into Allah's refuge, and that is very important. So guidance comes from Allah, and Allah is the one who decides Who will be those people who will be able to remember Allah by looking at these words and by reciting these words and trying to, these words would go into their minds and hearts, and the connections will be made, and the wisdom will grow inside, and the spirituality will grow, and knowledge will grow, and then wisdom will seep through, and actions will come emerge out of that wisdom. And that is when a mu'min, a believer, he does certain things which are not normally done, which are not normally, which are not easy to be done. In other words, I can say that. And that's why Prophet ﷺ has said that ittaqu farasat al-mu'min fa innahu yanzuru bi nurillah, that you have to be, you have to guard yourself against, guarding would not be proper word, I would say. You have to be, cautious, meticulous in terms of dealing with a believer, because if you're dealing with a believer, ittaqu farasat al-mu'min, because he has wisdom, and the wisdom that he has is polished by the nur of Allah. It's polished by the kalam of Allah. It's polished by the Allah himself polishes that wisdom which the believer possesses. And that's why he has accuracy and precision, and his wisdom and his decision making ability and his judgment and his accuracy in terms of reading the situations and analyzing the situations and predicting and forecasting the situations and taking preventive measures. He is fabulous and outstanding. It's not because he himself is fabulous, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed that believer with the ability to take all these measures. So for that matter, it's very important to understand the gravity of each and every situation you're going through, and whatever phase of life you're going through, just consult the book of Allah, read Quran, and you cannot do it on your own. Allah will be the one who will decide whether you are capable, you're worthy of it or not. And in fact, to be honest and to be very frank with you guys, we're never worthy of it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's his fadl. It's his fadl that he chooses people whom he likes, and he allows those people to understand the messages of Allah present in the Quran. Otherwise, we human beings are not worthy of reading Allah's book. It's Allah's blessing entirely, and Allah is the one who decides. So we have to seek Allah's blessings. We have to seek the spirit to learn Quran, the spirit to understand the messages of Quran. It has to be there. It has to be there so that Allah's blessings guide us towards the straight path, and the path that is the right path, that is the virtuous path, the path of piety. So if we have to walk on that path, it's only Allah alone who can allow us to walk that path. Otherwise, we're not ourselves capable of walking on that path, which at times would seem very difficult. So Quran makes things easy, doesn't make things difficult or worse. It aggravates your pain, it aggravates your situations and crisis situations especially. So you have to make sure that you're reading Quran, and for that you alone cannot do it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do it for you. May Allah guide us all towards the right path. May Allah make it easy for us to understand and contemplate on his words and extract wisdom out of it, so that our actions, whatever we do in our lives, become pleasing in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Quran al-Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim.